All right, so I will call to order the Truckee River Flood Management Authority Technical Advisory Committee on this Friday, August 29th, 2025, and the time is currently 10:01 a.m. Item number one is roll call and establishment of quorum. Marty,
Okay.
if you could assist, that'd be great.
All right, Janelle Thomas,
Present?
Chris Bronzik, Trina Magoon,
Present.
Mary Horvath,
Here.
John Simpson, Rob Bedart, Ashley Elson,
Here.
Amber Sosa. Was that Amber?
What's up?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No.
Not Amber.
He-
Okay.
He should be here in just a second.
Means princess.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah.
Okay. Donnie Gilman,
I know.
Kathy Canfield,
Here.
Donna Noel, Amira Morrow,
Yeah.
I know.
Zachary
Okay.
Carter, Chris Fritz.
Thank you.
We just got John Simpson in. All right. So you have 1, 2, 4. Do we have a quorum? Let me see. It was difficult because there was a little bit of crosstalk.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have, my count, we have 6 of 9.
Okay, and we are good to go.
Very well then. Item number 2 is public comment. During this comment period, any person is invited to comment on any topic, regardless of whether it is listed on this agenda or not. Action may not be taken on any matter raised during this public comment period until the agenda item is opened or the matter is specifically listed on a future agenda. Those who wish to comment on an item that has been listed on this agenda may, if they prefer, comment when that item has been opened for consideration by the board and before action is taken. Comment must be made as described above and is limited to 3 minutes per person. So I will open it up for public comment if we have any.
We do not have any public comment.
All right. And I will close public comment item 2 and move on to item 3, approval of the TAC agenda for Friday, August 29th, 2025. Are there any amendments, edits, comments regarding the agenda? And if not, I'll accept a motion.
I have read the agenda and move to approve if there are no other comments.
I have a motion from Trina.
Second.
And a second from Mary. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Hearing no objection, the motion carries unanimously. Item number 4, discussion and possible action to approve the draft minutes from the Friday, July 25th, 2025 TAC meeting. Again, I will ask if there are any comments, edits, or corrections, and if not, I'll take a motion.
All motion to approve. Ashley Olson.
I have a motion from Ashley,
Second.
second from Mary. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Hearing none, we are moving along. And I saw a comment from Joanne Meacham that she would like to comment on item number 7 when it comes up
Okay.
in the chat. Moving along to item number 5, announcements. George, you have the floor.
All right, thank you. So in terms of announcements, one thing was TRFMA faced the state this weekend, so that's on KTVN. That's a 12-minute interview, so it did, it did go into some depth, and it was a good exposure. There was all kinds of people making phone calls that I didn't expect after that interview, so I guess a few people watched that thing. The other thing that we're going through right now that isn't on our isn't one of the items, is the permitting at Vista Narrows. We've had some meetings and discussions, emails back and forth with the Corps. And we're probably going to have to become a little more, what's the word, proactive about it, I guess, and try to put some pressure on them because they've had like one of our models for 5 years. They haven't even opened it yet. So that kind of behavior needs to be brought out to the higher levels of the Corps and our senators and our congressmen and see if we can get some action from them. A permit like this shouldn't take 5 years. And that's been a long time. So that's another thing. And what was the third one, Marty, that we were talking about? I wrote down two of them and I didn't write down the third one.
The gauge network.
Oh yeah. Matt is our new employee, Matt Wieland, is making really good progress with the gauge network. We've already worked on, he's already installed one of the new gauges with way better precipitation that is not vulnerable to snow, so it can still record precipitation in the snow. And also and that's up at Galena. And also he's worked on the telemetry system. We're upgrading that. We're going to have cell phones so we can pull and adjust the gauge without having to go up to it. And we're going to also change the way we're doing the way we present the data and how that will go. So he's working on all those things simultaneously. He's putting in a second, revamping another gauge. And so in the near future, it's not urgent because he's got several more gauges to go before we get there. But we do need at some point Ashley and I saw her here earlier. Is she still here?
Amber.
Amber, yeah. I just wanted to make sure she was here. Anyways, I think we need to have a discussion about a couple of gauges and sparks. And of course, Kathy, we talked about that, but it's not urgent, but we'll need to talk to you in the next couple of months about gauges like on Long Valley Creek for Story County, and then some of the gauges up in Sparks that may not be working very well right now that we may want to help Sparks take over and revamp and make them a little more robust. And that's after talking with the National Weather Service about this and the Water Master. So we really got down and said, what gauges will you actually use? What gauges are important to you? What gauges will help you predict peak flows? And so these were the gauges were like revamping or the key gauges that they need for their network. So that's kind of how we're focusing it. So, like I said, he's on number 2 now. And I think now that he's done one, he's getting another one done. These are in higher elevations because that's the ones that are really vulnerable to the snow. And if you just have a tipping bucket, they freeze. So unless it's heated. So we're trying to improve those gauges first. And so as we get into it, we'll be talking to you.
George, on those gauges, how do they report the data? Are they through cellular, I'm assuming?
Currently, they've been on the alert system, and the alert is going to alert 2. And in looking at that system, it's quite limited for us, and there's been problems with us with the alert system. And so we're moving on to cell phones because then we can talk to the gauge too
Okay.
and kind of go back and forth without having to go out there to try to figure out what's going on sometimes. So I'll just help us to be more in tune with what's going on.
Okay. Perfect.
So that, yeah, it's really upgrading the like all our gauges that we've had in the past are tipping buckets. We only have 1 or 2 that are heated. And so if it gets like snowing, we don't know what that precipitation is because it's frozen the tipping bucket.
I gotcha.
So, but in this case, we're using weighing bucket gauges like a aught, and those are more accurate in the snow and in this rain on snow thing. And that's when it's really critical for us,
Okay.
for prediction. So we're really just trying to up our game a little bit to really make sure we're reliable for the Weather Service and others as they're trying to figure things out in their predictions.
Perfect.
Anyways.
Hi, this is Kathy. So yes, George, we're very, very interested in talking with you about all this. So
Yeah.
whenever it's time.
Yeah. Okay. I know you are. I'm not saying you weren't. I just wanted to remind you I have.
Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah.
George, it looks like Mary has her hand up.
Yeah, Mary.
Yeah, so I just want to say we have a grant from the NNWPC for $50,000 that I got. It's been on my list for like since almost I started at the city to talk to you guys about what would be the best use of that money.
Yeah,
And
we might want to talk about the Watermaster and the Weather Service. There's two abandoned gauges on Bronco Creek, and it accounts for like 3,000 CFS of peak flow, and it's in synchronization with the general peak. So that's really bad news, you know. And there's no gate, there's no way of regulating that. There's no dam, there's no nothing. So it's coming right down into the river, and we have no gauging on that basin. So both the Watermaster and the Weather Service were like, yeah, that's a big hole.
is that upstream of Reno?
It's upstream of Reno, yes.
Okay. Because it should be related to Reno a little bit, but yeah, that
Oh,
makes
it is. It's definitely related to Reno because it would affect flooding in Reno.
yeah,
And it would help you also with things like Hunter Creek and stuff like
yeah,
that.
for sure.
So,
So yeah, I should definitely talk to you guys. And then the other thing I wanted to say is that online your interview with Face the State?
Yeah. You
Yeah,
can see it.
yeah.
I posted it to the Facebook.
Okay.
And I'm gonna send it out in one of these newsletters, but I try not to overload the letters with information.
You
Okay,
can
but if I look
also
at it-
just go to KTVN and just type in TRFMA in their search and it comes right
Okay,
up.
cool.
Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah.
I'll link it in the chat too.
Thank you. That's all I got. Oops. Hold my hand.
Okay, and I think that's it for my announcements. Does anybody else have anything? Because we're a joint group of all we're working in the kind of same field here. And if there's something really pertinent, since we're all together here, it's nice for each other to know what each other's doing. So if you have anything, that would be great. Okay, well, that's all I got then.
All right, thank you, George. All right, so moving on to item number 6, update on the status of the Wadsworth Pedestrian Bridge Replacement Project, including ceremonial groundbreaking, initiation of bridge manufacture, detailed survey, and other aspects of construction. This is an informational item only, and George, you have the floor.
Do we want to do the public comment first or after? It's up to the commenter.
Actually, I think Joanne wanted to talk about item 7.
Oh, item 7. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought she said item 6.
Yeah.
Okay. So on this particular issue, I'm not doing a presentation, but I just want to say thanks to everybody that came out. There was representation from every city. There were people from Lyon County. I don't know if there's anybody from Story County, Kathy, but there was people even from Lyon County out there. And so we had multiple press out there. We had people from the tribe, which they well represented us at this thing, and very supportive in general of the bridge. So it was kind of like a love fest, and it was great. We had everybody on the board except for one person from the county there for the shovel turning, and I don't know what else to say except that in terms of where we're at with this project, we did a RF already, RFP or an RF, a request for information, RFI, and it was about the bridge, some of the bridge parameters because they're already starting to construct the bridge, manufacture the bridge. It's a steel bridge. So that's already under being manufactured. So that's we've already put a big deposit down on it. They are doing some surveying right now, but other than that, they're not going to get into the major construction until next June when school's out. So that we do this so we don't disturb kids as they're trying to get to school and force them up on the highway bridge or the railroad bridge. So that's kind of how we're doing this, and The other thing is it's kind of designed after talking with the constructor, it's going to be pretty fast. Like we tear out one bridge and we put in the other pretty quickly. So there isn't a lot of downtime in general, even during the summer. So if there's any questions about that, I mean, and obviously, Janelle, you guys are very interested because it is going to be it's a county facility,
Yeah.
the current bridge and the new bridge. So, we're just working along. And if you want to look at any of this or ask any questions, please just get a hold of me offline on this.
Perfect. So do you think there might be an opportunity to potentially have the work performed during, say, spring break? I don't know what the spring break timeline looks like, or if that would even be a possibility.
It's too tight. There just
Okay.
isn't enough time
Yeah.
there. Actually,
Okay.
one of the constructors tried.
Yeah,
Tried to put it in there. They weren't low bid anyways, but
Yeah.
it wouldn't work.
okay, cool. Any other comments from the people online?
I don't see any.
Okay. All right, so thank you for that update, George. Item number 7, presentation and discussion of the status of the Rock to McCarran design project, including a report on the Wednesday, August 27th working group meeting, discussion on the progress of the design, an overview of public comments, and review of a recent memo on costs of moving the Truckee River versus keeping it in place. This again is an informational item by George. And I know that Joanne Meacham at some point would like to comment.
Yeah, Joanne, would you like to comment now or wait until after I share a few slides?
Hi, I appreciate you guys being here, and I'd appreciate going first as well. I'm a
Okay.
little nervous. It's been a while since I've been to a public meeting. I do have a prepared statement. I think it'll take me less than 3 minutes. Okay. I've been attending the working group and the public meetings with respect to the flood project. I want to introduce myself first. I'm a retired engineer and retired Nevada Guardsman. I am now an avid cyclist and recreationist and use the river path frequently. I've lived, worked, and played in this community my entire life, including as an employee of the city of Sparks, where I was the utility manager and represented the city on the Truckee Meadows flood protection project during the 2000s. Can I just ask if you can hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
we can.
Perfect. I'd really like to congratulate the Truckee River Flood Management Authority, its board, Reno, Sparks, and Washoe counties, the staff and contractors. What I see now, 15 years after I was involved, is truly remarkable. And I'm very impressed with the work and the plans that are on the table today. I am, however, interested in the TAC discussion regarding the recent memo of the costs of moving the river. The remaining 2 alternatives, as you've already approved, include moving the river and creating the nature park. The memo under discussion today compares the costs and benefits of the planned nature park to an alternative generated by a retired local engineer, Mr. Roger Jacobson. Mr. Jacobson's alternative achieves the same flood protection benefits while still preserving parts of the nature park and some of the corresponding benefits. While I am in favor of incorporating a healthy share of environmental benefits in the plan, and in ensuring our community is better off environmentally after the project than before, I fail to see how the added $10 to $15 million worth of environmental benefits support flood control and public safety. Therefore, I respectfully request sincere consideration of Mr. Jacobson's proposal, as well as further evaluation of the environmental benefits with respect to their contribution to public safety and their contribution, with respect to the opportunity cost that is lost by providing protection elsewhere on the river, by flood protection elsewhere on the river. After all, flood protection is still our #1 priority. And that's all I have. 15 seconds to spare.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you have any questions for me, I'll be online.
Okay, usually
Thank
we
you.
want to just accept in a public meeting, just accept your comments and not try to comment on your comments. Otherwise, my lawyer will slap me. So,
Mr.
Copy.
Bob Blackstock has raised his hand.
yeah, at this level, I mean, at working group we do, but not on this one. Bob, you have a comment or something on this?
Yeah, Bob Blackstock here.
Sorry.
I'm sort of representing quite a number of ultimate frisbee players here in the Reno area. We don't have enough playing fields for this sport, and there are other people who are also involved in soccer and lacrosse and so forth. By one estimate, the Reno area is short of playing fields by something like 34 soccer fields. So we're definitely want to have additional playing fields for these kinds of sports. So I attended the Zoom meeting a day or two ago regarding this, and there's quite a lot of support among the ultimate frisbee players for this. So I just wanted to put a plug in for concept 2 on the 10 or 11 playing fields for this project.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you. All right, if there's no other comments, I'll go ahead and start up. There's already, I believe, is there a screen up for you, the Rock McCarran
Yes.
project? Okay. And so these are all the slides. We're not going to go through all the slides because I don't really want to, take up your Friday here. But I wanted to highlight a few that we went through during this meeting that are kind of new that you may have not seen before. I know the TAC is much better informed than average, so I don't need to review all this stuff. But what I wanted to talk about is for instance, these comparisons in size, which were interesting. Now, like all these things that I'm showing here, you've already seen before, but this one right here, you haven't seen before. And this is basically the overlay of Oxbow Park on top of the area that's going to be the Rock McCarran. And we were using this with the public to get them to have some idea about the size of this project. We had a tabular slide earlier and in this meeting as well, but this one really gets down to it. And then there's another one that Marty just showed me, and this one is also, and I'm just going to bring it up on top of it here. This is the Oxbow, and then this is what do you guys from Sparks, do you guys recognize this at all?
That's Golden Eagle.
I know it's Golden Eagle. So it gives you the idea of the immensity of this thing, and that's why we really have been reaching out to the community to make sure that we understand their needs and their priorities. Great to hear about the frisbee. That could probably be accommodated somewhere. We just need to know that that's a thing, and we would, maybe that's something we put in there if there's quite a bit of interest in it. The other thing is we really do on the moving of the river. We actually did a supplemental memo looking at some of the problems with keeping the river in place, including having to go after properties. So, these are things that we are listening to the community on. We really want to make sure we're working through the concerns and responding appropriately. So let me get that one off of there. Go back to this. So this is just another example. This is actually Idlewild on top. And these were shown on Wednesday, and I think it gave people some perspective that they hadn't seen before. We went back through the alternatives analysis, and we've done that here before. I don't really want to get into all of that, but we really with this group, because it was late at night, we wanted to make sure they understood the work that was already done. Because some of them, there were names and people up that had not been to any meetings previously in that group of people on Wednesday night, because it was at a different time than the normal working group. So I'll move down here. And the next thing I just wanted to say is we actually got into some detail, but the next thing I really wanted to say about this was this part, and that is we did talk about the recreation concepts like we did at the last working group as well. And in this meeting, we kind of cut to the chase a bit. This is the tabular form of comparing like a whole bunch of river parks to this one area. And you can see this is actually greater than all these other parks combined. So that was something that's a salient point. And Wood Rogers came up with that that figure that really opened a lot of eyes, including mine. Another thing that we talked about, and we have to really thank Nathan Uliet from the city of Reno. He put it really well. He said that in one of our meetings, he said that there's non-compatible amenities that aren't really very good at getting flooded, and their maintenance, problems and things like that. And these are the kind of things that just won't work in a floodable space, like a skate park, like a pickleball court, or a sand volleyball field that could, the sand will get contaminated, or something like this, a real hard structure that is prone, could get prone to flood damage. And then, things made of wood like this park aspect here. So that
Hey,
was
George.
yes.
Looks like Mary has her hand up, and Bob asked about a mechanism to drain the playing fields after they're flooded.
Okay, what's up, Mary?
I just wanted to know if ultimate frisbee is that played on a soccer field, or would it need a special facility?
It can be played on, well, I just know from living in Humboldt County and being a professor at Humboldt State that the soccer fields can go almost, I mean, not soccer field, I mean, frisbee golf works really well in open forested areas. It works well on fields, etc. And Bob, he commented, but I think they like it kind of in a complicated forest area where you have to shoot the frisbee around a curve or something like that to get to
He
the
says
goal.
frisbee golf is different than ultimate frisbee.
It is.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Ultimate frisbee is more
Yeah,
like
yeah.
soccer.
No, that's more like soccer, right?
But so you play it on a soccer field.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah, okay.
And how
I'm
do the
sorry
fields
about that,
drain?
Bob. I had Humboldt on my mind. I
Yeah,
drank
no
Humboldt
worries.
coffee this morning. Sorry about that. Anyways,
Like
apologize. Anyways, so when we talk about our concepts, we're talking about things that are compatible with a riverine condition, like maybe a bridge. We don't have that in our concepts right now, but a bridge in the middle might be nice. Park structures that can be flooded and just kind of sprayed off and back and ready to go. Trails in the forest near the river that are just earthen and easy to fix back and things like that. Pollinator areas. So open fields, things like that in the nature park. These are the kind of things that you would think about in those areas that are floodable. And then with the recreation complex, it's all those things, because the river area is also nature park. And then you can add other things as well, like of course the flat fields, things, other things like dog parks and things like that could be flood relatable. You got to be really careful with some of these, because you got to do lid process and make sure that they don't contaminate the river with phosphorus and nitrogen, for instance. And then we also have to be careful about the wildlife nearby. So there's a lot of considerations when you go to do an actual, developed park. So we talked about that a bit. Um, the other thing that we, we showed the concepts again. The thing to remember is in the river area, it's virtually identical. It's just this outer area that's different between the two. And then we showed it a different way that kind of brought out the things, more of these green areas or where there's trees. This actually is old, if you will, old growth cottonwood. That's kind of a oxymoron being from a forestry background that I am, but these are older trees that we're trying to preserve. And there's several areas like this where the plan has that in there. And that's why there's these side channels the way they are and everything else. And then also even with the nature park, a lot of trails up in the upper as well, along with open fields and some of these other things. Less ingress and egress, less parking than with the other option. So that's one of the major things. This is why we want to get a decision from our board soon, because with all this extra ingress and egress, this extra road network, the extra parking and asphalt and these differences up here, there's differences in how we handle utilities and all kinds of things. So how we would do irrigation. So it really affects the design going forward. So we want to narrow this down to one design and look at the one design. And, we actually have two kind of extremes, one with just total nature park, one with just fitting everything we can in there. And there's possible we could go a compromise between the two, but right now that's what we have, just to show the two extremes where you're going hard both ways within this area here. Next slide here. Same kind of thing, just allowing it to, the river's almost exactly the same. And you can see how these lay out. And one of the things that's important too is the buffering length between here and the river and between up here and the river. Here it gets very close because you're getting into the bridge. It's unavoidable also up here, but where we can, we want to try to keep this away from the trails and the roads and the more developed areas to give somewhat of a buffer, so it makes it easier to control things and also help protect wildlife and other features. So this was kind of the last slide we shared, I believe. It was just our next steps or where we're at in the design process. We're still at step 2. We're working on the 30% design. The parks part of it is only at 15%, and they're refining to give us a cost estimate between the two proposals, the two park proposals. And like I said, they've done a lot of work on other parts of the design, and we do have refined cost estimates. And we've really looked carefully at what the parks are covering, what the other part of it is covering, so that we understand the true cost differentials between the two options. So that's another important feature that they've been working on. They've been working on design drawings. We've been working around the bridges. We've been working on the issues such as bats and other things and mitigation. So there's been a lot of work going on, as well as geotechnical work. So this is ongoing work that's really, really a lot of progress in the background. And then the last thing here is, we have we invited another round of comments, and there's the address. And people that gave written or gave verbal comments today, we can also invite you to, if you want to put them down in writing, it's helpful because sometimes it helps gather your thoughts. And all we would do is just take an email. You don't have to do a novel and do it on a certain type of paper or anything. Just write up a comment and send us an email to this address, and we have been compiling them. In fact, on the previous one we had 228 comments, and we actually looked at every one of them.
Do you want me
Marty
to show the
actually,
presentation?
I don't want to do a presentation.
Okay.
Because I don't want to. I just want to say that there is a 4-pager available as well as this presentation, the Google to the Google video of this presentation as well, all available on the 827 working group. But at the 827 working group, we also have a compilation of the comments until now, or not until now, but from the not the first working group, the second working group in July. And that's the one that has 228 comments. So that's available there. There's a 4-page summary, and then there's a 98-page listing of all comments, and we stripped off any kind of doxable information off that. Like, we didn't want to give email addresses, or some people put their home address or their phone numbers. We took that stuff off and just have a name, the comment, and the date. That's it. So that it's not doxable except for, I guess, the name. And that allows people to see all the comments that have been generated so far in their, in their raw form. But then we also have a public comment summary. And if you summarize all the comments, there have been like 228, 53% of them generally support a park concept with active recreation ball fields. 43% are more leaning towards a nature, like they would like a nature park even in the upper area. And there's a lot of overlap. People that want a nature park will actually say things like, we realize there's a shortage of ball fields, but just try to be as, non-touch as you can. And then on the ball fields, they go, we realize that we want the river to be as natural as possible. So please, consider that too. So it's not like they're just hardline. They're actually, there's a gradation of comments, but generally 53 to 43%, with 4% are kind of neutral. They're just more asking questions, or they're very specific on a given issue, something like that. So these comments are available on that website, so you can see that. And the 4-pager is very similar to the presentation that was given on Wednesday night. So with that, I think I'm done, and I wonder if anybody has any questions from the TAC on this. And I just want to keep the cities informed and the county of how it's going and where we're at on this process, because it is generating a lot of interest and a lot of people really care about this.
Mary, you have your hand raised.
I think Trina had hers up before me.
Go ahead, Mary.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to know if you'd gotten any feedback from anybody on the board at all, like which way the wind's blowing.
I talk to the board all the time.
Oh, we can't
But
talk about that.
I'm not going to tell you what the
we
board.
shouldn't talk about that.
Okay, never mind.
I'm not going to tell you, but yeah.
Okay, Trina, did you want to comment?
Sure, it can either be now or after this, but I was just wondering, I guess with respect to this project, what will be your next request of the board and when will that occur?
Okay, good question. And that is something we talked about there as well. We're trying to work up to an October meeting where we present all this information to the board, and they're being fed some of this information already through emails. So they're being brought along as you guys are pretty much. And in October, the October meeting, we're going to try to bring this out and go, do you want us to go towards a ballpark design or towards a nature park design? The combo park or just full nature? And which way do you want us to go? Because like I said, knowing which way we go, to have a vision on that really helps us with the design, to make that 30% design more robust in terms of, where it's at in the true 30%, and also on cost analysis, et cetera. So, yeah, we need to get there on that. So that's what we're going to do.
Okay, thank you.
Mira?
Mara.
Yeah. So after our last meeting, Donna and I were talking about it, and a question that came up is for watering, like I'm assuming there's going to be grass underneath the trees in the nature park, as well as potentially in the ball fields if we do the ball fields. But what would be the source of water for irrigating those? If you had thought that far forward, if it was going to be regular water or reclaimed water or what?
Yeah, we
Just
do
in
not.
runoff potential because,
Right,
we're at
right.
the end of
I can answer that.
okay.
The current thought is, and of course, we're gonna, as we go along, we'll modify this based on, concerns and mitigations, et cetera. But the current thought is in the river part of it, the only irrigation would be drip irrigation for certain native species that need it to get started. Okay, so there would be that, like maybe for certain cottonwoods, et cetera, just to get them started. There wouldn't be like a grassy field in the river part. So it'd only be in that upper terrace that there'd be irrigation. And there's planned irrigation for both the nature and the ballpark. That we're looking at gray water or purple pipe, that type of thing, from the from Tom Wharf. That water, you don't want that water to go directly in the river because it has a little too much phosphorus, for one thing. So you want that to always be spread and get into the groundwater, not into the river. And they've been doing that on the UNR part for a long time. Just using that water like that to spread it out. So that's one thing. And the other thing about that is that they're going to follow lid process, and we're going to try to, we do have that intermediate berm, and one of the nice things about the intermediate berm, it's a nice stopper for any kind of overflow that's ground. And then any other kind of flow, we need to have a facility to make sure it infiltrates and not goes, towards the river as surface water. So that's the idea, and that's the devil's in the details on that. And now that you're on board, we appreciate you to be part of the process any way you want to be. We've always, the tribe was involved, I think, even on the hiring, like which firm to hire and stuff like that. So you're full on stakeholder. So please, if you have any comments or want to help us work on that, please get involved.
Of course. Thank you, George.
Any other questions?
Yeah, there were a couple questions. Bob wanted to know, how do the fields drain? And also he asked a couple other questions, such as would restrooms need to be flood resistant? And who maintains the fields once they're built?
Okay, really good questions. The restrooms would have some elements of being flood resistant. The exact design of the restrooms has not been done yet, but we've talked about several different firms that do flood resistant designs. So that's already in the mix. The second thing was on where will the water flow to? They have not done the final grading on that yet, and we haven't picked the park yet. But on the part, on the 15% design, it does flow pretty much from west to east. And so it'd be that eastern side over there is where it would flow to. And then you would want some way of getting infiltration. And so there's a lot of ideas about infiltration in place, even we've heard a lot about perforated pavement and things like that to get infiltration in place. And where it gets over and gets out, we would have a infiltration area, a basin for that. So those are some of the things that we're trying to do with that. And there was a third question. What was the third one, Marty?
Let's see here. So he asked about field drainage, maintenance.
Oh, and who will own it? That is really up to the board who's going to control this and own it. There's been interest by the city of Reno just to maybe they would take it over, at least the upper field perhaps. But we need to, a lot of that has to do with which recreation option is chosen. So obviously, if it's a regional park, the county may have interest. So we're working with everybody. All the major people on our board are major stakeholders, are major, they are our guides. And so, we're going to work through that, but it's not decided yet and it's not my decision. So, but I think a lot of it has to do with which park design we choose actually. So after October, I think there'll start to become a little more clarity on that. Joe, you had a question?
Yes, thank you. With respect to the review of the recent memo on costs of moving the river, what could we expect, like process-wise, for your analysis of that memo? And for clarity, I'd like to add that I've been privy to Mr. Jacobson's memo that he wrote to you. And I
You
want
mean
to
the email?
clarify,
The email?
email. Yeah.
Yeah.
He did an analysis of the alternative that he's proposing that I know you've seen. And I think I heard you say that your staff also did an analysis. Am I correct?
The engineer did an analysis of that and basically of that alternative versus the preferred C1B1 alternative that moves the river. And what it focused on was cost. And we found that it costs more to not move the river because, like we knew, there was some property problems on the north bank that would cause us to have to purchase or get easements on property, or both, actually both. And so that's what they found. And then they did estimates based on our Vista Narrows numbers and other real estate information. And it turns out keeping the river in place is actually more expensive. We're not exactly sure how much more, depending on what we could get back if we resell the land after we make the lot smaller, for instance. But
Is that
the idea is
memo
it's
part
about
of the record?
what
Is
there,
that
we
memo
do
part of the
have,
record?
we are going to put that memo out. It's not out yet. We just haven't figured out how to distribute that. But the board has seen that memo. So it will be out at some point. But the point is that, that it is more expensive to keep the river in place than to move it, which we knew all along. I mean, that was something that we knew. And Roger has said, no, it's cheaper to keep the river in place. And so that's just a strong difference of opinion, but that is that's something we studied it and
Okay,
spent
I
extra
respect
money
your
on.
opinion.
Right.
I'd appreciate the opportunity for the public to review your consultant study that looked at the alternative that Roger offered.
Right.
That
No, it did.
alternative.
It did that, and we will get that out. But
Okay.
okay.
With respect to process, then, can I expect that memo to be vetted back through the working group or the TAC or the board?
It would go one of those places. It's a memo that that we will get out to the public, and you can make comments on, and we can make comments on your comments. And it's very important that we have all our comment and be factual, especially when we're engineers. I'll just say that.
Great. I too am an engineer,
That's right. I
and
know you are.
I'd like to help you ensure the taxpayers of this community that we're using the 1/8 cents sales tax in proper priority order. I understand the priorities. Number one is flood protection. Number two is environmental. And I'd like to see some proof that Rogers' alternative does not achieve the same flood benefit that the two proposed alternatives that are going before the Flood Management Authority in October. Thank you. That's all I have.
But Joe, I have a question for you though. And this is my question is, and we had a public comment. I won't respond to that, but in your public comment, just one statement you made, and I just want to make sure because I didn't know this. Roger Jacobson is a licensed engineer in the state of Nevada. Is that correct?
I don't think that's true.
I believe Roger can speak for himself. He's a
Well, you said
hydrologist,
that.
so.
Okay, you said that. That's
You
all.
got, may I jump in for just a second, just to clarify where we're at? George can respond to public comment and interact with a public commenter. And I'm addressing Joe's questions here as public comment. But we need to be sure that make sure that the board doesn't jump in and start making inquiries amongst themselves, especially if we wander too far from what the agenda is. So far, we're fine, and I'm not stopping anything. But just wanted to make you aware of those rules. I wanted to clarify. Well, maybe I'll follow up later on my other question. That's fine. I'm sorry. I just wanted to jump in and make that clear.
Ellen, do you
Yeah,
have your?
That's Roger. He can clarify if he's
yes,
a licensed engineer.
Yeah, this is Roger Jacobson on Ellen's computer. No, absolutely, I'm not a registered engineer. Never claimed to be one, and hope that people don't consider that. I also realize that the board has already voted that they would like to move the river south from its current location.
Right. And Roger, I knew that, but I wanted to make sure Joe knew that because she actually referred to you as that. And so that's a big deal because that's a reserved term. So I just want to make sure that people don't do that. That I've actually seen people lose their license over that kind of stuff. So that's important. Mary, you had something?
Yeah, I just want to say we did receive that memo. We did the TAC received that memo, and I reviewed it carefully. So we do have that memo, and we certainly are providing feedback to our council members at the city of Reno on that memo and on the ongoing issues.
And what we'll do is we'll put that, I'm going to make a command decision here. We'll put that memo out as part of this meeting since the TAC has seen it and since it's been mentioned in this meeting. So Joe, you can you'll be able to see this on the website within the day or early next week.
Thank you, George. I have just one more caveat that I am aware of the phase that this project is in at 30% design. Roger's alternative is not included, and it is a reversal on a design process that you've been on for a long time. So I do understand what I'm asking. I just don't take no very easily. So I appreciate your forgiveness. But I won't.
I'm not.
But I won't stop. I promise.
You don't need to be forgiven. I mean, when we use a reserve term, it's like I'm like, oh, and I knew Roger knew that. I mean, Roger would have clarified that right away. So I just don't want people thinking that he's a licensed engineer when he's not. That's how trouble happens to all of us.
Understood, but I respect his opinion as much as I do yours. And I'm just seizing an opportunity to save 10 to 15 million. There's another option on the table that did not get studied. As far as I'm concerned, you offering your consultant's memo is an excellent remedy, and I'll just keep monitoring and supporting you and your project. It's a great
Right.
project.
And I did want to kind of wait to have some more comments, like for instance, if Mary had something, but I will just put it out now and we can just append that if she has comments or others. But
Sure.
yeah,
I didn't have any comments. I thought, but yeah, I thought the memo was great and I didn't have any comments. So that's why we didn't, sorry, I should have made that clear, but Yeah, I mean, we got that memo like a month ago or more, and I thought it was.
Yeah, it's just something we hadn't gotten out yet because we were still kind of waiting to see. But we'll get that out real soon, maybe even today. I don't know. It depends on,
Thank
you
you.
know,
I would
whether-
appreciate to hear technical discussion amongst the TAC about that memo as well, as I appreciate all the members on the TAC. And I'm impressed that you're all still there. And great job, each and every one of you. I am truly impressed.
All right, thank you.
Any other comments?
I don't see any.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, George, and thank you
Thank
to
you.
the other members who commented. Moving on to item 8, committee member comments, requests, and future agenda items. Do any members have comments? Trina?
Thank you, Janelle. George, I know we had talked about before an item on the TAC talking about what would be coming up on the next board meeting or what was anticipated. I didn't see that here, so I was just wondering what you might anticipate for the September board meeting.
Nothing that we're not having a board. Well, September meeting could come up, something could come up. But at this point in time, we are planning not to have a September meeting, so that's why
Okay,
we're not.
so not until October. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Are we going to have another TAC before the next one? Then?
Likely, yes, in
Okay.
late September.
So we'll have another TAC before the
Exactly.
October board
Yes.
meeting.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
September 26th.
Any other comments? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to our second public comment item. During this comment period, any person is invited to speak on any topic that is not listed as an action item on this agenda. Action may not be taken on any matter raised during this public comment period until the matter is specifically listed on a future agenda. Comment must be made as described above and is limited to 3 minutes per person. Are there any hands raised?
I don't see any.
All right. Seeing none, we will adjourn item number 10. Thank you all for your attendance.
Have a happy Friday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy
Happy Labor Day.
Thank you.
Have a great Labor Day weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.